Today we're revisiting the nice solar lights from the trash. I'm not able to revive these as solar lights, but perhaps I thought I could revive them as low voltage lights. So I got some bulbs. They're LED! Yeah. Anyways, let's see if these are any good. There's two things I have to check here. Number one is I gotta see if these lights are gonna work off of this transformer. These are supposed to be 12 volts AC or DC, which I don't quite understand. I have a 12 volts DC transformer here, which will connect them to. And inherently they're in these neat little boxes, but it's kind of excessive. They're very hard to open. Ugh, it broke. I didn't want it to break. Here's the bulb. Now, this is not a 360 degree light bulb. It's kind of like 180 on each side. So we'll see how that fares. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So let's connect the transformer. Ugh. I'm allergic to LEDs. Let's connect the transformer here and see if this works. And then if this works, I will see how we can get it fed into the lights. So I'm going to strip this back, and I'll strip this back, and we're going to go ghetto for the testing here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to hold it together using this piece of equipment here. These, I don't know what these are called, quick grips, slow grips, whatever grip, just grip the thing. This is only 12 volts, I probably could just hold it. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it into here first. And then now I should be able to make this connection. Okay, so that's holding the light bulb onto the wires. Now I gotta strip this. I should have stripped this before. Okay, what I'm going to do now is going to connect it to the transformer, and I'm not sure if these are going to be polarity sensitive, because if they could take AC is not polarity sensitive, so will they be polarity sensitive when operating in DC mode? I don't know. Stupid LEDs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the wires and crimp it onto there like that, and then the other wire, should be done the other way, but this wire will stick into the middle, and that should make our connection. Okay, so that's working. It's giving off a stupid LED, cold LED glow. What brightness are these supposed to be? 3000K warm white. Yeah, I guess that's about 3000K. For a walkway light, it's whatever. So now, what I have to figure out, so that works just fine. So now what I have to determine is how are we going to mount the bulb in here, and how is the wire going to get into the glass area. Because I think what would make the most sense is to just mount the bulb here in the bottom. Because I could run a wire up to the top, but then this doesn't make any sense to me. So perhaps what we can do, because there's a little reflector thing on the bottom, perhaps I can unscrew that. Well, okay, so that holds too many things together to go without that. Because I thought what I could do is do that and then pass the wire up through here and then into there. But that's not going to work if that screw also holds this on, which it would seem to do. So there's enough extra space there. Perhaps what I could do is drill a hole through this, which I thought was a reflector, but it's black, so I guess it's not going to be reflecting any light. Maybe I can put a hole through here that'll be big enough for the wires to go through, and then maybe that'll work. So what can I make a hole with? A drill bit. Now, let me grab the wire I'm going to use. This is the wire that I'm going to use. It's 18.2, but because this is a low voltage direct burial wire, it's the insulation is thicker than a lot of wires. So even though it's only 18.2, it's still pretty thick. Okay, here we go. You know, it's tape or it's plastic on everything that I buy. It drives me crazy. Because most people don't recycle this stuff, and so where does it go? Not good. Okay, almost towards the end here. Oh look, more plastic. The whole thing is plastic. Okay, so here's the wire. I was really hoping that we could just go up in there like that and attach the bulb. See what I was saying here, how much thicker the insulation is compared to the wire itself. So what we're going to have to do, I hope that there's enough, I think there is enough space that the screw would still go through. It's going to be a little risky screwing that in though. I don't like that at all. Well, let's get a hole drilled through here. We got to start with that first. Well, we have to do two holes because I don't think there's not going to be enough room for it to go through in there. I need to keep an eye on the time here because I got to do something at 8 o'clock. Actually, there's absolutely no reason to strip it right now. So I need to make 2 holes that this will pass through. I think this bit will be the right size. It'll be kind of snug, but that's fine. I'd rather it be snug and have to re-drill it if it doesn't fit. I'd also rather be snug as possible so bugs can't get in there. Jeez, this is taking forever. There we go, I just need a little more force. Okay, so now we have 2 holes there, and the wire will fit through there with ease. So that's good. Actually, that's perfect, because now there's not a lot of space for other contaminants to get into the light. So that's going to sit like that, and so that means now that, let's see here, those holes have to get drilled through. Those holes have to get drilled through this metal piece as well. That may not go quite as easily. I'm going to start with a smaller bit, and we'll have to work our way up to the bigger size. That is the broken. Let's try this one. I think this is out of charge. Okay, I'm going to have to figure something else out, because I'm not going to do this for every single light. This is taking too long. I think this drill is, well, maybe it's not out of charge. There it goes. I should put something down so I don't jack up the carpet on here. Over here. Total freak show over there now. Okay, so now this would go on there like that. The wire could pass through there, and then the last thing that the wire would have to pass through is this. So this is sitting on the other side like that. Oh, okay. We have a small dilemma here. Well, the first dilemma is that this isn't sitting flat anymore, but the other dilemma is that the opening, the glass opening, is smaller than those 2 holes, which means that's not even going to work. Okay. So that's not going to work at all. Nope, not at all. Oh, I didn't realize that sooner. Okay. Yeah, because... Nah, there's no way that would work. It has to go through the center. Well, let's just put 2 holes through here and see what I can do with that, because this may answer some questions. Okay, so this goes on here like that. So the way it's going to be is, and you feed this through here first, and then I'm going to feed this through here. So that's now made entry into the fixture. And so then the question becomes, how should it pass through here? I guess I have to pass it through, and to try passing it through the other parts first. I need to pass it through this first, like this. And then I have to pass it through... Ugh, more stuff is still falling over there. I have to pass it through here, which is risky because that's a very dirty hole, and it could slice through the edge of the wire if I'm not careful. Let's fix that. Okay. Then it has to go in through here. And then now is when it has to pass through. It's going to have to pass through these 2 holes in this piece. Pretty sure that this did work. How come it's not fitting anymore? There it goes. It's just a bad angle. Okay. So the wire is through there. So now the question becomes, is there enough slack in between there to still put the cord on? I mean, to put the screw in. That is the question. Yeah, I guess there is. I don't really like the way that is, but I think it'll be alright. Certainly is not easy to assemble this, that's for sure. fact, is it going to permit it to screw in? I don't think it's grabbing onto the where it needs to go. Oh, now it is, I think. Nope, it's not. Okay, this is not working. It's realistically going to be too tight for comfort anyways, because I'm concerned that the screw may cut through the insulation of the wires as it screws in. So that's not going to work. I also was assembling it wrong. Let's give it one more shot the correct way. No, we're not doing it that way. That's crazy. It's just not going to work. Now, this is okay right here like this. But somehow this is going to have to connect without that screw. And I'm thinking maybe just a big old blob of hot glue. That's what I'm thinking. Because really this doesn't have a lot of weight on it. I mean, like, it's not going to come off. It's sitting on here like this. So the glue wouldn't really be holding it necessarily in place. I'm not sure if it'll bond well to this material or not. I think that'll be the next thing to try, because it's not going to screw together. It's just the opening in the glass isn't big enough. Okay, I'm going to try to glue it now. I'm going to use the infamous hot glue because that's what I like to use. And this, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. This may or may not work at all. I don't know. I'm going to cut this back a little bit so there's more room for the wire to pass through. These cutters need to be sharpened, they're very dull. Okay, so that's enough for the wires to pass through with ease. And then now the wires will pass through here. And to make the connections, this is going to stir up some snarky comments, I'm sure. But what I'm going to do is I've bent the, well, this would get through here so I can do it. I've bent hooks onto here like this. I'm going to do the same thing onto this wire. And then I'm going to hook it through like this. And then I'm going to close the hooks on the bulb. And then I'm going to coat it in hot glue. And let the snarky comments flood into the box because it's a perfectly good connection. Let's see, where'd that piece of wood go? Okay, so that's the bulb connected. Let that dry for a minute. Let's watch glue dry. This is interesting. And it's even blurry too. Wow, look at that glue dry. Now, what I have to do in the light here, I'm going to pull the wire back in a little bit, and I'm going to leave it, and I want the light to be kind of towards the middle. Oh, this zoomed in too much. I want it to be kind of towards the middle, like that, you know, somewhere kind of about there. So I'm going to put some more glue here. Try to hold this in place. And try to keep it as straight as possible. And I'm going to push it down a little bit to kind of let the glue sit in there and solidify. Okay, and now for this, I'm just going to coat the bottom of this in hot glue and see if it'll make a good connection. Probably should be using that vintage gun for this because it's higher temperature. And this, I really don't think this has enough glue right here, but let's just see. If I put this down, will it stick? I have my doubts about that, but let's see what happens. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this wire about this far down so we have enough to make the connection to the lead in the ground. I'm going to be done with that for now. Yeah, that's not quite going to work. I think what I'm going to have to do for this is I may have to like drill out the entire bottom of this and just kind of like pot it in the hot glue in a sense. Get all this excess off of here. That seems pretty sturdy actually. That'll work. I enlarged the hole, so now I'm going to try putting this on here and see, I gotta get some more of that glue off of there so it sits flush. I'm just going to kind of fill this up here. I'll put some down below first. And I'm going to put some inside there. Now let's see what that does. That didn't work at all. I didn't have a lot of confidence in that working. So now I'm going to have to figure something else out, and this is going to be pretty challenging because we have a surface here that we can't screw into anymore. And so as a result of that, there's not really a good way to connect this piece. Now this one I'm going to have to figure this one out, but I think, well no, see that doesn't fix it because that piece doesn't connect it there. I'm not sure what to do with this. This is going to be far-fetched, but I'm going to try to just fill this up with glue at the base here and try to let it kind of just pot in the stand, and maybe it'll hold. Let's see what happens. Here's the glued one, and it's not great, but it's a little wobbly, but I think it'll work. It's not going to fall off. So I'm confident enough that I'm going to use that. Now, I'm not going to use that design ever again. What I did come up with, since gluing this to here works fine, I decided to use 2 screws to attach this to this, and then I drilled 2 holes in there to let the wires through, and then once the wires are through I can do the gluing. I think that'll work okay. Well, the hole situation is going to work. I have to enlarge that hole and just use the center one because that one is too far over. Okay, the hole is enlarged, so now the 2 wires will fit through. So this is what we're going to do now. Get a piece of wire out. And we needed about, let's see, about this much. Now this is a little bit dangerous too here with the wire being that close to the tip of the screw, so maybe I'll set it in hot glue once I get it where I want it to be. See if I can get this open without breaking it this time. Yeah, very easily. I'm going to make the connections the same way. Okay, and now I'm going to cover that in the hot glue. Okay, and now I'm going to lower this into the fixture and kind of secure this about halfway up. And the way that I did it before worked pretty good. I just put a big blob here and then kind of pushed it down, and that seemed to work nicely. In fact, probably we could just do this now as well. Okay, now that's just gonna dry for a while. There is a little slit in the stake for a cord to go through, which is odd because these are cordless lights, but I'm gonna just cut this out a little bit more so that it'll be big enough for it to fit the other wire that we're gonna put in. This is mostly dried. Bulb is sitting in there correctly. Pretty happy with the way that came out. Okay, let's stick this post on. And then the stake. Okay, that's pretty good. That's not straight or flat on there. I don't care. It's plenty sturdy, and from a distance you really won't notice that it's like that. So let's connect the cord and let's see how bright this is. I'm sure this will work just fine. This has got to be brighter than it was originally, and it was already pretty good. Yeah, that's quite bright. That'll certainly be adequate to light the path that I want it to light. And that design is good too. That was pretty easy to make. Okay, so that concludes it. That's what we'll do. I'll make it the way I made it the second time. And I'm gonna put this one out there too, and whatever happens, happens. I don't have enough of these that I want to waste that one. So, alright, that's what we'll do. We're gonna use this design, and I think it's gonna work well.